speaker, Dr. Kenney Potter. Dr. Potter is the Artistic Director at Charlotte Master Chorale. He is Director of Choral Activities at Wingate University and also Choral Conductor at Covenant Presbyterian Church. Dr. Potter is also a composer. He has been a soloist at Carnegie Hall. He's been a choir soloist with the Oregon Bach Festival and the International Bach Academy. Many of you, Dr. Potter, many here know that I'm a member of Charlotte Master Chorale, so I can share a little bit about him from the perspective of being a singer in the chorus. And what I can tell you, there are many good things I can tell you about Dr. Potter, but what feels most important today is to share with you that he has been at the helm of our chorus during a time that, for obvious reasons, has been extraordinarily difficult for the live performing arts. And Dr. Potter, along with our board and leadership team, has met the demands of this moment with creativity. I would say with relentless innovation, and I like to say has been scrappy in the best way. So our chorus is very grateful for his leadership, and we are really looking forward to September. So with that, I'll give you Dr. Potter.
Thank you. All right. I will sit so everybody can see me here and everybody can see me on the screen. This is the camera, so when I want to address those who are on the screen, I look here.
That's correct.
So hello, Luther Moore. Good to see you. Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you, Romy, for inviting me. I'm a proud Dilworth resident, have been for 16 years. My wife and I, we live on the racetrack called Scott Avenue. But we do love Dilworth in the South End. And as Romy introduced, much of my work is the longer I work, the more I condense and stay in Dilworth. So between the Charlotte Master Chorale, which meets a Covenant, as well as my wife and I lead the traditional music at Covenant right across the street. So we love this, and again, thank you for having me. What I want to share with you today, and I'm certainly open for questions later on, but I wanted to tell you a story of resilience and hope. And we're getting these stories a lot and have been for the past 15 months. And I would like to set it up by giving you some background about the organization that I represent, and that's the Charlotte Master Chorale. In 1951, there was a group of singers that formed a group called the Oratorio Singers of Charlotte. If you've been around Charlotte for any period of time, you've probably heard of this choir. This choir functioned independently, but collaborated often with the Charlotte Symphony. And in the early 90s, the ASC, Arts and Science Council, which was a very different organization back then, recommended that the Charlotte Symphony and the Oratorio Singers of Charlotte to combine forces from an administrative perspective and become one musical unit. And they did. And the two organizations functioned as one. And in 2015, I was hired, and at that time, it was decided that to better reflect the name, to better reflect what the chorus was, we would change the name to the Charlotte Symphony Chorus, because that's essentially what it was. And so if you're confused by the nomenclature, I totally get it and understand. So the Oratorio Singers of Charlotte started in 1951, became the Charlotte Symphony Chorus in 2015. And then came 2018. And in 2018, the leadership of the symphony, which was a different CEO at the time than in 2015, saw that the Charlotte Symphony was not doing well financially, and they had to make some hard decisions. And one of the decisions that they needed to make in 2018 was to focus their music to be more centralized on the symphony and do Beethoven symphonies and Mozart piano concertos. And there wasn't as much room for choral music. And so they recommended that we go independent. It was somewhat amicable, but if you want to call it a divorce, so be it. But we, as the chorus, embarked on independence after being with the symphony for 25 years. We are now independent as of 2018, and thus a third name came about, and that is the Charlotte Master Chorale, which was the Charlotte Symphony Chorus, which was the Oratorio Singers of Charlotte. And so we are the same organization. We have been around for 70 years. We are celebrating our 70th year this coming year. We are the resident chorus of the Charlotte Symphony. And I am very, very happy to say that we have a great relationship with the Charlotte Symphony and its new leadership. But we're going to maintain our independence because we have already seen the benefits of our independence. So we're entering our 4th year. So let me tell you about our first 3 years very quickly. Our first year, as you can imagine, starting any 501c3, started with no money in the bank account. And in November, as we were paying an orchestra, as we were embarking on our first concert, which was the Brahms Requiem, there was some panic with the board on
You didn't get a divorce settlement?
how to pay this. The divorce settlement came a little later, and so, but we made it through that, and then the divorce payment did come through, and we made it through the first year, and we made it through with some money in the bank. The next year, 2019-20, we had a good artistic year that unfortunately ended early because the pandemic hit the world in March of 2020, or this area of the world. So that was year 2. So year 2 was cut short by the pandemic. And then obviously, you know what happened in year 3. Singing was early on was linked to super spreading events. And rightfully so. Now looking back a year from now, a year ago, we know a whole lot more about how the coronavirus is transmitted. And if I had stock in Clorox wipes, I would have loved that, considering Clorox wipes aren't actually useful for cleaning or sanitizing for COVID. It's all airborne. With that said, singing is a super spreading event, and so we had to be creative, and that's where resilience comes in. We felt it was really important that this past year that we keep the music going, and I'm very proud to say that we presented 3 full-length concerts via YouTube. And full-length concerts live are normally 75 minutes-ish. YouTube concerts are shorter just because people's attention spans are shorter on YouTube. So 45 minutes to an hour. And we presented a concert in September. You can go on, you can type in Charlotte Master Chorale into YouTube and find these concerts, by the way, or go to our website, charlottemasterchorale.org. And we presented one in September. We presented a Christmas with the Charlotte Master Chorale, a quarantine Christmas. And that was obviously in December. And then we recently presented what we are making an annual event, and that is our Unity concert. I'm really proud of the fact that we were able to present these 3 concerts. In addition, we did a Hallelujah Chorus project where we invited singers from all over the country and world to participate, and we had folks take advantage of that. And we reached out. There are other similar organizations in other cities, such as Atlanta Master Chorale, Los Angeles Master Chorale, Minnesota Chorale. If you go to their websites, they chose a different path, and that is to take it a year and reflect and to plan. We took a more active approach, and again, I think we're better for it, and I'm proud of the work that we've done. Again, so that's the resilience perspective. We are ending the year financially in really great shape. We did apply for government funding, and so all of you taxpayers, thank you, because we did benefit from that. We will move forward with live performances in September. And that's where the hope comes in. What type of music do we sing? That's a question that I get often. And you know, the obvious answer is choral, but there's a caveat. For 70-ish years, this chorus, its main focus was presenting the masterworks. And if you don't mind me saying, the masterworks of dead white men. I mean, really, that's what it was. We are looking forward as we program repertoire, and we will include and always include masterworks. So you will hear us sing Messiah. You will hear us sing Mozart Requiem, Brahms Requiem, hopefully Carmina Burana sometime in the near future. But there's a whole lot more repertoire out there that is relevant to what's going on in our society currently. And so we will explore that music. And our goal is to enter into conversations, and some of them being hard conversations. Our Unity concert, which we started last year, the first program was on the African American spiritual, and really digging in on how to appropriately sing African American spirituals when you don't look like people that typically sing that repertoire. Because it can be done, and I was very proud that the choir did do that. We had a collaboration with the Charlotte Contemporary Ensemble this past year in presenting the second Unity concert. The second Unity concert was focused on and reflecting on the past year and how challenging it was politically, how divisive it was as a society, and just trying to unify our society through song. And so that was the purpose of that Unity concert. As we move forward, we will be presenting, like I said, a full season of live music. And I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm going to just rattle off these concerts, but this is available or will be shortly available shortly on the website, charlottemasterchorale.org. But our first performance is going to be on September 11, 2021. It's the 20th anniversary, and it's going to be a concert of remembrance, and it's going to invite the audience to reflect on the past 20 years and how our society has been impacted, not only from 20 years ago, but even this past year, and how COVID maybe has influenced us and impacted us in the past year on a personal level, and maybe we have lost loved ones. And so that performance, I think, is going to be a rich concert, a deep concert, not necessarily the lightest concert, but I think it's going to be a really moving program. In October, we're going to the chamber singers, and there are two ensembles within the Charlotte Master Chorale. There's the main chorus, which is 100 to 120 singers, or 90 to 120 singers. And then there's the chamber singers of about 30 to 35. The chamber singers will present a piece called Considering Matthew Shepard. Considering Matthew Shepard, if you remember the story, it was one of the first hate crimes that received national attention. And it was about a college student in Wyoming who happened to be gay and lost his life, and the circumstances pointed back to the cause of the fact that he was gay. This program is a very uplifting program, and it's a great piece of music. We presented it a couple years ago, and because it was so popular, we're bringing it back. And we're performing it twice in early October here, and then also up in Asheville. We are embarking on, actually this past year was Christmas with the Charlotte Master Chorale 1, and this year will be Christmas with the Charlotte Master Chorale 2. It's going to be a program that celebrates our season with classic music, classic vocal music, and we're looking forward to that. That will be obviously in December, and then in March we'll present our Unity concert, and it will be hope and resilience. And one of the featured pieces that we're going to be doing is a piece called Alzheimer's Stories. Fairly recently written, very relevant to many of us who know and have loved ones who have struggled with dementia. And it's a really, really powerful piece of music that will be enriching for everyone. We'll also commemorate our 70 years with a commissioned work by a young composer of this area, who happens to be our associate director. His name is Phil Biedenbender, and he is writing the piece for us. And then we'll close the season with the chamber singers singing a mostly motet concert. I'm rattling on, and so I'm almost finished. So if you have questions, you're going to get an opportunity to ask questions. In addition to all that, if that's not enough, we will also be doing a program called Singing the Brews, and that'll be in December in breweries in the area, because we all like singing and drinking. So that is in December as well. And again, you'll see that on the website, and invite everybody to come. And last time we visited Birdsong and Resident Culture, and just had a great time. In addition to all of that, we are the resident chorus of the Charlotte Symphony, and the Charlotte Symphony has programmed to include us for a Thanksgiving performance of Home Alone with the movie going, and we'll sing it. We'll sing live. I mean, who knew there was a chorus in Home Alone? But there was John Williams.
Sopranos, you're gonna take the paint bucket.
Yeah, right. John Williams actually wrote a choral part, and it's actually quite involved. It's more than you think. And then actually the next week we'll sing Messiah, and then in March we're singing a work by Ralph Vaughan Williams. His Don't Know, who, if you're familiar, is British and understands and has great insight into all British music, including Ralph Vaughan Williams. And then we will close the season with the great Beethoven Ninth Symphony. That's a little bit about our organization. And again, I can talk for a long time about this organization, but I know that we're on a time limit. So I'm going to stop talking for just a moment. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them. Yes, go ahead.
How do you all select what you'll do that year? Where do those ideas come from and how do they get approved?
Sure. That is primarily my work.
Will you get the questions so that
Oh, yeah, sure. So the question was, how do we go about choosing repertoire and programming for the year? That's primarily my responsibility. And I am always looking for repertoire. And as I talk in early June 2021, I'm already thinking of the 2022-23 season. I'm normally 12 to 18 months ahead of what we're doing. And I'm, just through choral connections, I'm listening to new music and then also looking back to see what I think that and what we think community would want to hear.
Are you practicing for, that's kind of a lot in a row. So are you practicing for all like 2 or 3 events at once? Or are you trying to get everything ready for one performance and then like, how do you do it?
Yeah, that's a great question, and clearly you're a musician. So how we go about rehearsing, it depends on the year. And so, for example, Home Alone, Messiah, and Christmas with the Charlotte Master Chorale, and Singing the Blues are on consecutive weekends. So that's 4 consecutive weekends. So that's when right before Thanksgiving, I say goodbye to my children. And then right before Christmas, I say hello. And so what we do is I carefully plan, and there will be some weeks where we are juggling multiple programs in a rehearsal. Now, that sounds like a lot. The good news is that Messiah is done every year, so it's not a huge lift. And Singing the Blues is programmed so that it's not a huge lift either. So we're able to juggle pretty well. But usually we will set aside anywhere between 3 to 7 weeks and rehearse for that one concert. Yes, sir, back here.
Do you have any connection with the crossover with Opera Carolina?
Personnel, yes, we certainly have. But Opera Carolina, there are some singers that sing with us, but no, artistically, there isn't. It's funny, choral, there isn't a lot in many operas, there's not a lot for choruses to do, particularly the earlier. And so that's really it. So not too much crossover. Yes.
Would you like to sing something for us today?
Would I like to sing something?
That's what we do to you in this club. That's what we'll do to you. Just take it personally.
Hang on. Hang on. With a voice of singing, bum bum. That's all I remember the words. But that's it. All right, I just sang. That's it. All right. Anything else?
I just don't think we have any questions online.
No.
No.
Where do your members come from? Just a question.
Where? No, that's a great question. We, since I have been here, in front of the group, we have had singers that have consistently come from Hickory, obviously Mecklenburg and Union and Gaston County. But as far as Hickory, we had one singer who made the trek from Asheville every week. We had another singer who made the trek from Columbia, South Carolina, every week. He finally moved here. Cheaper. It's cheaper, right?
He moved here because of the chorus, I think.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did. He was a retired elementary music teacher, and who lived in Columbia. And he decided, you know what, I'm just going to move to Charlotte. But you know, there's a pretty good representation outside of Mecklenburg County of singers in this group. Yes.
Actually, I have a question I've always wanted to ask. So obviously a chorus tries to balance the numbers of people in each section, the chorus, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. I've always wanted to know, why is it that it seems like choruses in general, including ours, have more members in certain sections than others? Like there's always plenty of sopranos, and never enough tenors. What's going on with that?
I think it's partially societal.
Can you kind of repeat the question for our?
No, sorry. The question was, why is it that there are always more sopranos than there are altos, tenors, and basses? That's a generalized way of asking that question. I think it's partially societal, but in America, and not just America, this is true in many countries, there are more females that sing in choirs than males. I think the short answer is it's a societal. You could go into, well, and you know, this is true with church choirs. I do know this for a fact. The reason why some churches rehearse on Thursday nights, Covenant was historically always rehearsed on Thursday nights. And I said, why? Because church night is Wednesday night. So why is choir rehearsing on Thursday night? Well, it's because historically the men would travel throughout the week and would come home on Thursdays. And so that's when they were available to sing in the choir. Now, again, that's historical, but there was some actual truth to that and some reality. I switched it. So it's now always the guy. So it lines up good, but yeah, I think it goes back to societal. Now, here's the good news. From a vocal perspective, 60-40 tends to be a good ratio between trebles and men. So 60% and 40%. That's what I try to keep. Yeah.
I have a quick part two to that question.
Okay, part two.
It just occurred to me, are there more of certain voice types naturally occurring in the population?
Well, yeah, as far as trebles are concerned, most women are naturally sopranos. And the ones who develop their ear more quickly tend to be placed as an alto. All right. And as far as tenors and basses are concerned, it's typically most males are baritones, which tend to be easier to sing bass than it is tenor. All right. Yes.
You might have mentioned, but I didn't hear. What kind of music will you be singing when you're singing the blues?
It's in December, so it's gonna be all carols.
Okay.
But I mean, it's singing the blues, so
It is so-
yeah, I mean.
It's not gonna be Grandma got run over by a
You
reindeer.
might hear Rudolph, but it's gonna be probably more carols, yeah. All right?
Well, thank you so much. We would like to offer you.
Ah, thank you. Yay! Right here,
You have your, you have your hot tea and honey.
There we go.
Right.
Very
Right.
good.
You guys step forward a little bit.
Yes,
Quick
sure.
picture of you with
Here, I'll
how do there, the projector on your forehead. So wonderful.
Right, right.
All right,
All
thank you
right.
so much.
You're so
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Oh, I have one more question. If there's anyone here who, hold on, I gotta get this. If there's anyone here who would actually like to, we do have a lot of singers in this group. Do you guys have open auditions or do you have to be invited?
Open auditions.
Open auditions, kids, that's what he said, anyone online, so, excellent. Thank you so much. All right, we are going to do the what's that, the raffle, oh, shoot, the raffle. Rosemary, will you hold it there, raffle? We're not, we have to make it get back.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we want to see this out. All right, Rosemary, draw us a winner for our raffle. Get ready, get ready. 649.
I put the tickets in.
I already put it in, that was a good thing. All right, excellent, thank you so much. Now, can we do the four-way?
Now we can.
Okay. Artie, can you please stand for the four-way test? People online, you can remove these. All right, of all the things we think, say, or do, first, is it true? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill, better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial, all concerned? And fifth, will it be fun? All right, hold on, let me adjourn here. Get my knife. Thank you for everyone who's online. I appreciate you guys joining us. And,